we will be free. For when the rising tide is turned in every London quarter, Parliament comes crashing down with Robert's Rules of Order.
Okay, Friday the 19th of June.
Alrighty.
Ace, are you ready for this?
I'm always ready. I'm ready for that jelly.
Ready for that jelly?
Yeah, I don't think you're ready for that jelly. Okay.
Leave your hand sanitizer out of this.
Yes. Aphasia.
There's a joke on that one.
Yeah, there is.
A few episodes back. Anyway, a second is not required.
Mm-hmm.
A, for a member to order a counted vote on division of the assembly.
Mm.
B, to consider an appeal from the decision of the chair.
Mm.
C, to move the previous question.
Mm.
D, after the chair states the question and debate has begun. Or E, on a broken clock.
D makes no sense. Read them all again.
Okay. A second is not required.
Right.
A, for a member to order a counted vote on a division of the assembly.
That does require a second.
B, to consider an appeal from the decision of the chair.
That does require a second.
C, to move the previous question.
That does. So it has to be D.
D, after the chair states the question and the debate has begun.
Yeah, why? Right. If you forgot the second, then it's too bad. It's waived.
Well, no, it's not even that. If the chair is stating the question, then it was already been seconded anyway.
Well, I think what they're saying is it hadn't been.
Oh, and debate has begun.
Right.
Okay, the answer is D.
And what's the...
Reference is way back on page 37. In handling... Okay, I'm going to go back to 36 for a second. Actually, I'll take it back even a little further than what I was going to do. The requirement of a second is for the chair's guidance as to whether he should state the question on the motion, thus placing it before the assembly. Its purpose is to prevent time from being consumed by the assembly having to dispose of a motion only one person wants to see introduced. In handling routine motions, less attention is paid to the requirement of a second. If a chair is certain that a motion meets with wide approval but members are slow in seconding it, he can state the question without waiting for a second. However, until debate has begun in such a case, or if there is no debate until the chair begins to take the vote and any member has voted, a point of order can be raised that the motion has not been seconded, and then the chair must proceed formally to ask if there is a second. Such a point of order should not be made only for the sake of form if it is clear that more than one member wishes to take up the motion. After debate has begun, or if there is no debate after any member has voted, the lack of a second has become immaterial and it is too late to make a point of order that the motion has not been seconded.
Yep. That's like pretty much what I was saying. It's assuming that it wasn't, and then once voting has started, too bad, so sad.
Yeah.
Sucks to be you.
Right. No, I'll tell you, I disagree with their assessment. And the reason I do
Sucks to be you.
Well, no, the reasoning is this, is that in a matter of routine, it is normally gone that if the chair will say, is there a second, and then the motion dies for lack of a second. But this is saying the exact opposite.
Well, it's saying on routine motions, the chair can just assume.
Yeah, but what's routine? That's the question, as you've seen perfectly well.
Like a recess.
Yeah, and you've seen a motion to adjourn be hardly routine.
Yeah, but a lot of times they aren't. But I mean something like a 5-minute recess because people need to use the bathroom.
Yeah.
Something like that, I would think.
Yeah. As a rule of thumb, whoever's chairing the meeting should ask for a second.
Or like if the secretary moves to approve the minutes, like that's pretty routine.
But that's previous notice, isn't it? Mm. As part of the if the minutes are part of the agenda and they're up there and they've already been published, isn't that previous notice?
But you still need a second.
Isn't that part of the secretary's report?
If it's part of the report, sometimes the secretary doesn't have a report. Mm. I mean, I do in ours, but we're required to. But like at a board well, it depends. Our board meetings, the secretaries, but not at all of them. They don't always have one. Mm. I'm just trying to think of routine motions that might not.
I would just take the position, and I've done this when I've chaired meetings, is ask for a second to make sure. And then if there's debilitating silence, then you can say the motion dies for lack of a second.
But I see what they're saying, to be a little informal.
And I've also been one of these ones who, and I even mentioned this on Richard's Facebook page a couple of days ago, where I may not even agree with the motion, but I may second it just to get the discussion going.
Yeah, he was getting some crap for sponsoring even.
Yeah.
If you think it's important enough to be heard, you don't have to, it doesn't mean you're going to vote for it.
And as I pointed out there, I said, discussion may change your mind.
Yeah.
You don't know till you hear it.
Right.
So, anyway.
I was like Richard when I was regional. I tend to sponsor everything. And even now I tend to sponsor everything unless it's like against principles or something.
Well, for the most part, yeah. And for the most part, if it's not against principles and it's a discussion worthy of having, even if the motion doesn't pass, have the discussion. You're supposed to be deliberative. That's part of the process.
Yeah, and I love when people, but you're wasting time. Really? How much time do you think's been wasted?
Yeah.
Really? Come on.
Exactly. So,
Get over it.
So much for all that.
Favor! Let's hear the opposition side. Like a stubborn donkey's bray. All opposed? You say nay. Opposed! Opposed! The motion carries anyway.